Hello, Santa Cruz and anybody else out there in KSCO land. This is Dr. Duncan McCollum, coming to you from McCollumWellnessRadio.com. That's my new handle for the show. I've taken over every Saturday at 3 o'clock. I'm very happy to be able to be here and talk to you people about upcoming trends in health. And so at any rate, what I thought I would talk to you today about is boosting your immune system while turning back your biological clock. I've had so many people come up to me and ask me, so many of my patients are so concerned about, of course, what's been going on with their immune system and COVID. And now with the fires, the immune compromised are even having a worse time because of the air quality. There's so many toxins being dumped into the environment because of the air, not only just the trees and ashes, but all of the polyurethane tanks, the houses, the insulation, the appliances, all of that stuff is putting a tremendous amount of toxins in our air. And, really when it comes down to it, the only way we're going to really be healthy is when we learn to take care of ourselves. So I'm going to introduce a couple concepts today. One is actually what's called a cellular detox program. And it's a 3-month program I'll go into and why it's important, who put it together, and what it actually can help accomplish. Right now, we are almost done with our 15-day challenge that we've been doing online. And basically, it's been helping people get into ketosis, learn about the intermittent fasting, and about our ancient healing strategies. What did people do before us to become healthy and stay healthy? And what we can do now to ensure that we are being healthy. You know, the average American is, we are actually rated the worst obesity-wise of all the industrialized world. And 50% of us are diabetic or pre-diabetic. 30 million of us, there's a little ladybug climbing on my screen, 30 million of us have thyroid disorders that are diagnosed. Autism is at an all-time high. And, even with the COVID fiasco, the people that are really doing well are going to be the ones that have the best immune system going. And so that's what I really want to focus on today. You can find out more about this at McCollumWellness.com. And we will be talking about a couple different things coming up, and I'll go into it, but I am going to be doing a 90-day detox program, and there's 3 phases to it. The first phase is what's called the body phase. So many of us have inflammation in our body. We know that chronic inflammation is the cause of chronic disease, and 81 million Americans have multiple chronic diseases. And that means that you have things going on, symptoms and things that have been going on for more than 3 months. And there's so much that we can do about it. So the first thing we want to do is address the inflammation in our body. And we want to do that in, well, basically 3 different levels. One is in our gut or our intestines. Secondly is in our organs. And then thirdly is in our brain. And, the amount of diabetes in our country right now, which we know we can help people reverse if they're willing to do the work. The amount of diabetes in the country, we have diabetes type 1 and type 2 and diabetes type 3, which you may or may not heard of, which is Alzheimer's disease. So too much insulin on the brain causes Alzheimer's disease. It lays down plaque, which stops the electrical currents from going. So this can be guarded against, you might say prevented. Type 2 diabetes can be reversed if you catch it in time. I treat a lot of people at my office with diabetic neuropathies. Those are, pains in their feet, numbness in their feet. They get ulcers on their feet. They can't feel their feet, so they trip a lot. Diabetes is the #1 cause of preventable blindness, the #1 cause of limb amputation. It causes kidney failure, causes cancer, #1 cause of heart disease. All of these things can be reversed if you decide to do something about it early on. Western medicine basically tells us to eat 6 meals a day, and they manage your blood sugar with medication. This is only a palliative program, meaning it's just going to ward off your symptoms until the disease finally takes you. So we know that we can do a lot to reverse this. And the first thing we want to do is clean up your diet. Rather than eating 6 meals a day that are sugar making food, we're going to teach you how to, on an ingredient. And if you're not ready for this, we'll let you know, and we'll cut it back to a point to get you ready for the detox. But we need to heal your digestive system. The leaky gut or intestinal permeability is caused by foods we put into our body, toxins we put into our body, added chemicals to the food we eat, especially glyphosate, which you may know as Roundup. And glyphosate and or Roundup is so prevalent in our foods. They spray it liberally on the crops. Monsanto, is the owner of this patent. And by spraying it liberally on the crops before they harvest it, it kills all of the green stuff and turns it brown, leaving the grain easier to harvest. So now you're getting a grain that is inundated with glyphosate. Not only that, the grain has been altered so much, especially in the 1970s. Dr. Blaylock took amber waves of grain and altered it so much before genetic engineering or before changing the DNA. And he made stubby stalks of grain. So even those glutens that were created by the crossbreeding of various grains that would have never happened in nature, we've created a tremendous amount of inflammatory foods that our body does not recognize. And we eat it liberally because it does turn to sugar, which the bugs in our gut, called the microbiome, devour. They're the ones that tell you to eat ice cream and bread and 4 helpings of mashed potatoes and rice and cereal and juice and Coke and all that stuff. That's feeding a very kind of a damaging microbiome in our gut that has developed over time because of the change in our food since World War II and even before. So what used to happen back in the day when we didn't have everything so easy here in the United States, it used to be easy, getting to be a little challenging these days, but we could eat what we wanted, when we wanted, as much as we wanted, with whoever we wanted, whenever we wanted, with whoever we wanted. And it's led us to a position of prosperity, but also a position of disparity of health. So our health is, again, rated 47th in the world for health, and we're only 4% of the world population. A beautiful country, but we take over 50% of all the drugs made in the world. So what this is addressing is it's all addressing toxicity of chronic inflammation causing symptoms of chronic disease. And most of those medications are used to address the symptoms of chronic disease. So the first line of defense in this 3-step program is to heal the gut. Now, what happens is, if you've ever seen, if you ever had an inflammation in your hand or some kind of infection that you saw stuff ooze out of, basically, sorry to be graphic, but that was the tight junctions between your cells were being pushed apart, allowing seepage out of your body of various toxic fluids. And this is basically what happens inside your digestive system. Your large intestine is 1 cell thick, and that's pretty skinny. And so when you put food in your body that would normally be digested by healthy microbiome or healthy bacteria, nothing gets in our body without going through a bacteria first. They would be broken down by the microbiome or the bacteria and turned into digestible nutrients for us. There was a symbiotic relationship, meaning they work together with us. We put food in them we put in our alimentary canal, which is outside of our body. They would, in other words, our stomach is outside of our body. It's a tube that has little mechanisms of beings or microbiome digest our food and make it presentable to the human body for human consumption so that the cells can use it and turn it into energy. But as I was describing the kind of pussy, blown up, infected cut, when the walls of your intestines get that way because of too many antibiotics, too much sugar, too many poisons in our environment, too many heavy metals, glyphosate, and all those kind of things, those cell walls blow open and they become extra permeable. This is called leaky gut or intestinal permeability. It's also what, when you hear any word with the itis or osis on the back of it, it means condition of. So if you hear colitis, colonitis, it's inflammation of the colon, colitis. Simply a word describing inflammation in your colon, meaning that those cell walls are blown apart. It's infected, basically. It's inflamed. Chronic, the more it stays that way, the more you develop chronic conditions like colitis, or excuse me, like Crohn's disease, even cancer, colon cancers. You're setting the stage for very unhealthy conditions inside your body. So what we want to do is we want to, number one, quit feeding the bad guys. We have different types of bacteria in our digestive system, and we've been led to believe if we simply take a probiotic every once in a while, we're going to balance it. And this is proven to be not true. It's very difficult to replace the good bacteria in your intestines, and it takes work, and it takes months, if not years, to get it balanced again. Every time you take an antibiotic, you're wiping out all the good bacteria in your digestive system. Statistics show that American children, by the time they're 18, have had 17 doses of antibiotics in their lifetime. Some of them in an early age. This breaks down your body's own immune system. It breaks down the digestive system, allowing for more leaky digestive systems, and stops your body from building its own immunity to the toxins in our environment. So the first thing we want to do, and sometimes we're going to recommend testing for this. There are various tests that we do to take a look at what is living in your digestive system. Sometimes there's some pretty bad guys in there, and without knowing that, we may not know the right thing to do to go after. So that's the first phase, is helping increase the health of just the digestive system alone. And that would be your liver, your kidney, your bladder, your large intestine, that really, and of course your stomach and your small intestine, that whole thing, because that is where food goes into your body in one, and then toxins and waste products go out the other end. And until we get that area cleaned up, good luck on solving any condition in your body. So if you are struggling with this and you want some help, reach out. You can go to info@mccollumwellness.com. This is called mccollumwellnessradio.com too. So if you just put in mccollumwellnessradio.com, you'll get taken to my website, and there's some questionnaires that you can fill out. You can get a complimentary consultation there, and we can see what we can do to help you, to see what program might be best to put you on to help improve your health. I have people come into my office so often on medications, and they go, I don't want to be on these. I'm just tired of taking them. I don't prescribe or de-prescribe medications, but if I can help you get your body healthy enough, you can go back to your medical doctor, and I'd be willing to talk to them and go, what can we do to improve the health here? I noticed this and that. So first thing we're going to do to heal the digestive system is we do have an online program. It's a 7-week, it's called the Cellular Healing Diet Program, and you can find that at mccollumwellness.com or mccollumwellnessradio.com. Either one will get you there. And this is going to teach you about ketones. So what are ketones? Ketones are fat broken down to create energy. There's been a big misunderstanding about ketones for years and years and years because, well, basically back in the 20s, 100 years ago, they were using ketones to help people that were suffering from seizures and a lot of other kinds of conditions. So it would actually, because the brain loves burning ketones. Ketones are broken down fat, healthy oils, not toxic oils. All other food breaks down into glucose. You've heard me talk about this a lot. So French fries to broccoli all break down into glucose. What we're talking about is detoxifying our body and getting our body healthy during this incredibly challenging time in our lives. We know that there's 4 or 3 different things affecting our health. It's physical, chemical, and emotional, which would be stress, okay? And all of those cause stress. But the emotional stress that we have right now with the fires going on, with COVID, and the people that are being out of work, they don't longer have their homes, it only adds to the stress in our lives. So we're trying to help you understand what you can do to be healthier. So we've been talking about healing your digestive system and your gut. We've been talking about the microbiome, or the bugs that digest your food, and what we need to do to make them healthier, and wipe out the bad guys. There's some bad guys in there that have been taking advantage of us, and they've been living off of sugar, and they've been demanding us to eat sugar. Before the break, I was talking about French fries to broccoli all breaks down into sugar, but a lot of you don't know that all proteins, all meats, break down into sugar ultimately as well. And we know that the brain functions better on ketones. Ketones, viruses can't live off ketones. Bacteria can't live off ketones. The brain functions better on ketones. Cancer cells cannot live on ketones. So if we could replace a lot of the food, the glucose type food we eat, with ketone forming foods, then our body could use the glucose forming foods for quick energy, and then use the ketones for longer burning energy. This will allow our body to function better, our immune system to function better, and also help the brain function better, because the brain loves fat. It loves to burn fat because it's made of fat. So the first part of the program is when we heal the gut. And this will take maybe a month, maybe more. We're going to teach you which foods not to eat, which foods to eat. We're going to show you how to find out if you're in ketosis. We're going to show you how to do that safely. If you have any diabetic symptoms, we're going to work with your understanding. We're going to have you talk to your medical doctor. But I can tell you, we've had a lot of people reverse this problem. And if you look at Dr. Jason Fung, I will play a clip by him a little later in the show of me doing an interview with him. He talks about, and he wrote the book, The Obesity Code and the Complete Guide to Fasting. He's a brilliant man. And he's a endocrinologist who's been working with diabetics for years, and he's helped people turn that around naturally. And a lot of the teachings that I do are based off of his philosophy, as well as Dr. Daniel Pompa, who's, my opinion, the leading authority on cellular healing on the planet. So I'm talking about a cellular healing lifestyle. You can go to McCollumWellnessRadio.com. That's the name of my show, McCollumWellnessRadio.com. And go to that website and look into the 7-week cellular healing lifestyle diet. We also have an academy that we are launching right now that you can join for a year and get all kinds of great information. You can get discounts on some of the services that we're doing, and then a lot of stuff that we will be doing to that group. Monthly, we'll be doing Zoom meetings to them privately on the new information coming out. We'll be doing Facebook Lives and or email reports of breaking scientific data. So what we're trying to do is help you get your immune system healthier and turn back the biological clock. So by cleaning up your digestive system, cleaning up your infections in your digestive system, the inflammation, I was talking about colitis, which means itis is inflammation of, so colitis, or any of those diagnoses are just saying that your large intestine isn't healthy. Why is it not healthy? All it does is digest the food that you put in it. If you put bad stuff in, bad things are going to happen to it. If you put good things in, then a lot of good things can happen to this. So what I want to really express here is that your health and your immune system is up to you. Now, also one thing that you should be aware of is turning back the biological clock is something that you can do as well. You can actually make your body turn younger. And one of the things that has proven to lengthen something called your telomeres, which are in your DNA, and I'll speak more to that in a minute, is fasting has been proven to lengthen your telomeres. Now, basically what telomeres are, they're little strings or hairs on the end of your DNA, and every time a cell divides, the string gets a little shorter and shorter and shorter. At one point, your DNA will no longer, the cells will no longer die, split, and they're supposed to die. But because of a lot of factors in modern day Homo sapiens, these cells no longer die like they're supposed to. It's a process called apoptosis. They continue to live and suck up energy. They are useless, except for the fact that they get inflamed, toxic, turn into cancer cells sometimes, and also get their neighboring cells to become sick as well. So the more of these you have in your body, the more you're bringing down the health of your body. So by fasting, you are causing your body to do something called autophagy, autophagy, self-eating. We're teaching your body how to break down its own cells. And this is really a fantastic thing. It does it anyway, but if we can promote it and speed it up and get it to start breaking down these cells that are called senescent cells, senile cells, they're still there. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know why they're there, and they probably shouldn't be there anymore. In fact, we know they shouldn't. Then as we teach you what to eat to heal your digestive system, your body's going to naturally start to break down the bad bacteria that we're no longer feeding. So only the strong survive, the bad ones die off, new, good, healthy bacteria cells start to propagate, and over a period of time, you're going to develop a much healthier intestine and a much healthier culture within the intestine. So that's really important. Also, your cells in your body that use sugar and ketones, they're going to start to get starved down when you're not feeding it too much fuel all the time. How do you know if you're feeding it too much fuel all the time? Look in the mirror. If you're not, lean, if you're overweight, like 50% of America, then you're either doing one of several things. You're either just consuming too many meals a day, too often, with too much every time you do it. You're consuming unhealthy foods that are going to cause you to become inflamed. They're going to proliferate the bad microbiome in your gut, and or you've got some kind of toxic buildup that's not allowing your body to be as healthy as it could. So those are the things that we can help you understand. We can help you explore them. And again, we're going to have my program. We're going to be launching a 3-month detox program soon, probably in mid-September. And you mentioned this show, you can get a discount on it, but it is going to be at, you can look it up at McCollumWellness.com. So now let's say after a month, maybe a little bit more, your digestive system is healthy, and we're ready to go on to the next phase, which we're actually going to start to pull toxins out of your body. So this is where we're going to be working with your organs. We're going to be using some products that are designed to scavenge heavy metals, molds, and chemicals out of the tissues in your body, out of the cells in your body. And we know that we have toxic buildup. We know that we have heavy metal buildup because we come from the lead generation, at least our mother's does. The number one cause of lead poisoning in our country right now is our mothers. That's where we're getting it, because lead is stored in our long bone, or it's stored in our bone. And when we are conceived and our mom's giving the best of everything she's got to the baby, we are pulling out the heavy metals out of the bones as well as the calcium. It's getting passed through the baby's blood, or the umbilical blood, into the baby, along with what we know to be about 278 other toxic chemicals: lead, mercury, aluminum, other heavy metals, and then a lot of industrial chemicals that we are exposed to. So then now that we've healed the digestive system, we've cleaned the liver out some, we've got your large intestine not leaking all the time, we have your kidney and bladder working well. Now the next thing that we want to do is start to pull these things out of our organs. This is called the body phase. And by pulling the heavy metals and things out of our organs, they get to the liver. The liver is actually able to digest this stuff and to get it out, eliminate it out of our body. So one of the things that we know is out of the 78,000 toxic chemicals that have been added to our environment since the Industrial Revolution, our liver's never seen any of them before. It's the first time in recorded history that our bodies have this many toxins in our body, so in the environment. So our bodies are really challenged. Our livers and other systems are being so challenged trying to figure out how to eliminate these toxins. So we need to help the liver. We need to clean it out. It's like your liver's kind of like if you look at the oil filter on your car, or the air filter in your ventilation system in your house, or your heater system, or the filter in your vacuum. If you just keep sucking up the dirty things, pretty soon, and those are plugged up, it's going to stop working. Your body's going to overheat, your vacuum's going to overheat, your heating system will break down. Well, your body breaks down when the liver and kidney can no longer detoxify. And that's what's causing so much chronic disease, is our body's unable to handle the amount of toxins we're putting in our environment. Our body gets inflamed. Toxic inflammation causes chronic inflammation causes chronic disease. This we know to be a fact. So the body phase takes about a month for most people. And believe me, at the end of 3 months, it doesn't mean you're done. It means that you've started your body on a process of cleaning itself out for the first time in your life, more than likely. A lot of people have done a lot of cleanses. They get off the shelves at the health food store, and these are okay, but they're not thorough. And a lot of times what we call binders, like chlorella and cilantro and other binders that you take hoping to grab onto the toxins and pull them all the way out of your body, aren't strong enough to do it. So you mix up everything, you get it into your intestines, but you never get it completely out of your body. So there are different, what we call binders, that are absolutely the best available, that when we pull the heavy metals, toxins, molds, and chemicals out of your cells, then the binders are going to grab them and get them out of your intestine, rather than have them continue to recirculate throughout your body in something called bile. So that's so important that we understand that that's what we need to do. Again, Dr. Duncan McCollum, McCollumWellnessRadio.com. It's my new handle. And I'm so glad for Michael Zwirling and Michael Olson and everybody at KSCO for allowing this station to be here so that we can talk to people about their health and what our thoughts are. It's free radio. It's very cool. So now, one of the reasons we want to get rid of heavy metals and molds and other chemicals out of the body is because they open the door for chronic infection or hidden infections. The three amigos are heavy metals, molds, and hidden infections. Hidden infections are hidden. They can be in a root canal. They can be in a lymph node. They can be in your intestines, just constantly breaking down your internal immune system. So oftentimes it isn't the outside environment that's going to get us. It's what's inside our body that we can't feel, see, touch, or taste that's getting us. It's making us sick. So sometimes I have people come in and say, I've been eating healthy for 30 years, and they're 60. I go, well, what happened before that? You know, if you don't have a way to pull the toxins out of your body, it doesn't matter. You know, like there was a commercial on the TV years ago that I remember so well. It was Johnny came home with a grease spot on his white pants, and mom put it through the washing machine 8 times and said, no common soap will get the grease out of Johnny's pants. We need these enzymes. And they put this new fancy soap in there with little Pac-Man enzymes that ate the toxic heavy oil out of pants. And that's what modern science has allowed us to understand, what we need to do to make this happen inside our body. And it's phenomenal what we can do. Again, it takes time. Everybody's different, but starting is the best thing you can do. So the body phase is really working on tissue, like connective tissue. It's all of the organs. And you know, one thing that people aren't aware of is your lymphatic system. Your lymph system is like a drainage system. There's 4 times more lymph fluid in your body than there is blood. And that number might be quite off a little bit, but it's a lot more. And the lymph system is constantly splashing around your cells and in between the cells and cleaning the toxic debris out of your body. So few people know about the lymph system, and it gets stagnant. And when you don't move your body around because you're in pain, you're not going to use your lymph system well enough, and you're actually going to cause more inflammation in your body. One reason to see somebody like a chiropractor or somebody to help you be able to be mobile is to increase your lymph system function so that you can detox quicker. So many times people come in and go, well, I hurt my knee. and I can't exercise and I put on 40 pounds. Well, you know, they're also probably eating incorrectly, and their body's probably toxic. They're probably still getting exposed to things they put under their arm that might have aluminum in it. They might be having Raid in their house. They might be using canola oil or, well, nickel injected canola oil with yellow dye number 27 in it, better known as margarine. They might be using polyunsaturated different type of oils that are also causing more and more trouble for people. So these are the things that we're going to help address with you when we talk about going on to the 3-month program, if that's what you want to do. If you're just more interested in getting your losing some weight and getting your body cleaned up by doing the intermittent fasting diet, the 7-week course would be perfect for you. It's you can find it on McCollumWellness.com or McCollumWellnessRadio.com. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take another short break here. This is McCollumWellnessRadio.com, Dr. Duncan McCollum, McCollum Family Chiropractic in Capitola. And we'll be back in just a moment. Okay, I'm back. This is Dr. Duncan McCollum with McCollum Wellness Radio. I'm having some technical difficulties with a couple of my clocks, trying to figure out timing and stuff, but it's all working out. It's a beautiful day in Santa Cruz. The wind shifted, so I'm not smelling the smoke right now. My heart goes out to all of the people that have been displaced, and anybody that's listening to this radio that has been displaced. You're welcome to call my office, McCollum Family Chiropractic, 831-459-9990, and I would be more than happy to give you a complimentary consultation and what I call a feel-good chiropractic adjustment, if it's safe to do that with you. We have some spots that we can still fill. Just call McCollum Family Chiropractic and said, I heard Dr. McCollum on the radio, and I'd like to take advantage of the opportunity to come in and see if I can get a free adjustment, complimentary adjustment. And I would love to do that for you. So please call. We can only do so many a day because we're very busy, but it's a first come, first served basis. And all right, so we've been talking about this cleaning up our body and turning back the biological clock. So boosting our immune system comes directly by is directly proportional to the degree our body doesn't have to fight. It's internally fight toxins and organ dysfunction. So I'll say that again. In order to improve your immune system to the environment, you have to decrease the amount of stress internal to your body. And these kind of things are toxins in our body. And the toxins are stored in our fat cells, by the way. The fat cells are inert, meaning they're not water soluble. So the body's very, very smart. When its liver gets so plugged it can't get the toxins out of the body, it starts to hide it somewhere. So it hides it inside our cells. And that's the fat cells. And that's why one reason your body doesn't want to burn fat, because it's going to dump more and more fat cells in your body, and that's going to make you sicker. So we need to do this strategically. And the first step is to clean the liver out and heal the large intestine so that we can do the second stage, which is called the body phase, at which point what we're doing is we are healing the organs. Sometimes we have to look at targeting, if it's a lung or a liver or a kidney or a spleen, your large intestine, your gallbladder, any of those organs, and even your adrenal glands. Your adrenal glands get so stressed by everything that's going on, they might need some support. And we want to support them, but we don't want to support them and not handle the toxicity. It would be, it's like bailing out a boat without plugging the hole in it. So those things we can assess as we do a complimentary consultation on you. And if you were to do the 3-month program with me, which you can find out about, we're about to roll it out. As soon as we get enough people started, we'll start it in September. you'll be able to be part of a group that we can debug your particular conditions. We can give you a lot of support, and we can help you change. So by the time 2021 gets here, your body's going to be a whole new body. It's going to be as healthy as well, it's going to be on the road to recovery. We're going to teach you how to turn back the biological clock, because what wears out a body more than internal inflammation? I'd say nothing. So if you want to slow down your aging process, clean up the internal aging, this is what is so important. And that's something that we can help you do. So I just want to recap again. This is McCollumWellnessRadio.com. You can go to my website, McCollumWellnessRadio.com or McCollumWellness.com. Find out more, ask questions. There's free surveys on there that you can do, health surveys. You can find out about the different courses that we're doing. We'll soon be launching our academy that you can join. That's going to be just a site that you can go to get great information, new stuff that's coming off the line. You can ask questions and get answers. If I don't know the answers, I'll look for them for you. I work with some of the leaders in the industry around the world. And so we have about 50 doctors that meet once a week, kind of a brain trust. Dr. Pompa is part of it. And we all learn about stuff. You know, a lot of us are going down to Mexico to get stem cells put in to find out about that. If you're having any kind of ache and pain that's stopping your body from being able to function, you've probably heard me talk about the stem cell machine that we have in my office. And that's really very, very valuable. There's only less than 150 in the country, I found out. And there is 600 in the world. So I'm number 403 of those 600. But again, there's only 150 in the country. And if you haven't come in for the $49 TRT special, you should. Just come find out about it. You know, there's no guarantees in life, but we've had some pretty amazing results with this. And so for the last part of the show here, I want to talk about the brain phase. What can we do to clean the heavy metals and toxins out of the brain? Why would we want to do this? And what benefits can we get out of it? Well, I mentioned earlier that diabetes type 3 is Alzheimer's disease. So too much insulin on the brain, diabetes is an insulin condition or disease, too much, and all it means is your cells can't see insulin, so that they have to yell insulin to try to get in the cells. So you can keep adding more and more insulin till you get Alzheimer's disease, or you can clean up the cells so you don't need as much insulin. It's so simple. Would you rather dump in more hormones that are going to make you forget everything, or clean up the cells the hormones are supposed to act on so the correct amount of hormones can act on those cells? To me, the other one sounds better, the second one, and especially since we know how to do it. So there's something in your up in your head called the blood-brain barrier, and it's exactly that. It's a barrier that only allows certain things through the blood vessels into the brain. And it was designed in a certain way millions of years ago so that our brain would be protected from toxins we get from the environment. One of the problems we're faced with is all of the chemicals that have been created since the Industrial Revolution, and maybe even earlier, that are smaller than the blood-brain barrier permeability. They get into the blood-brain barrier and they poison it, make it toxin. Mercury passes the blood-brain barrier. Aluminum does, a lot of other toxins. Insulin gets in there. In fact, insulin on the brain is called diabetes type 3 or Alzheimer's disease. So just like we were talking about your gut and intestinal permeability of your digestive system, or leaky gut syndrome, the same membrane makes up the blood-brain barrier. So we need to clean up and tighten up that blood-brain barrier in order to protect you. But we can't do that till we've done everything else. It doesn't make any sense, because we want to pull the heavy metals and toxins out of your brain, but they got to have some place to go. And if your body's toxic, they're not going to be able to go. They're just going to go right back into your brain. So there's a particular type of supplements that we recommend to you. I'm not really going to talk about them on here because I don't want you to try them until we've got your body healthy. But they will help get these type of detox products into your brain. They're small enough to cross the blood-brain barrier, grab onto the heavy metals, mercuries, leads, viruses, molds, and all that stuff, pull it out of the brain back into circulation. Then it gets into your large intestine and gets attached to those binders I talked about earlier, so we can get them all the way out of the body. So this program is pretty amazing, and we've put hundreds of people through it, and we've had amazing results. One of the main things is you learn about how to keep your body healthy. You learn how to get your immune system healthy. So we want to teach you how to do this, so you're not going for the next best thing on the shelf every time it comes out. I see a lot of people on Facebook talking about their juice cleanses they're doing, or, you know, this or that. And, you know, it's not that they're bad, it's just that they're not thorough. And they might, I mean, I recommend take a look at what you're trying to accomplish. If you are trying to actually get your body healthy, then why waste your time doing something that only does part of the trick? Wouldn't it make more sense to get yourself a little more education on actually where the science is telling us to go to really make a difference? So, and you know, an example I use sometimes is, let's say your parents were out of town when you were a kid and they had white carpet and you spilled a bunch of red wine on the carpet. Well, you could wipe it up and you could clean it up on the surface and go, wow, I got away with that. And then the next thing you know, your parents come home and it starts bleeding up through the carpet. And then you wipe that off and it bleeds up through the carpet. And you got to lift the carpet up, replace the undercarpet, and clean the carpet on the other side. That's what a true cleanse looks like in your body. And if you don't have the right tools, you don't know how to do it, then you're going to have some success. But look, if you have family members that have chronic diseases, genetic diseases, then you should really look into this, because we know that the genes live inside the cells, right? And those genes get turned on and turned off based on information fed to the cells. When you have bad information fed to the cells, like toxins getting in the cells, or once your body uses fuel and makes energy and the toxic exhaust can't get out of the cells, it sits around and it turns on bad genes. Those bad genes turn on disease. We know, last I counted, there were 7 Alzheimer genes that they have found. And those genes don't have to be turned on. It doesn't mean just because you have a gene, they have to be turned on. There's so many other genes, like people talk about with their energy and metabolism genes, that they think their path is paved because of these genes. Well, we know that if you continue with a standard American diet, you're probably right. You know, if you want to learn the information that will help you get your body healthier, that information is probably wrong. And it all depends on how bad you want it. How bad do you not want to go down the same path as your parents, health-wise? You know, what do you want to teach your kids? Your kids are, you know, have a lot of the same genes you have. And if you've had cancers in your body, like, you know, my mother died of ovarian cancer. You couldn't tell it. She had it. I was 17 when she finally passed. And then we hear things on the radio about, you know, if you know somebody who's died of ovarian cancer and they use talcum powder, you might have a lawsuit. Well, she passed away in 1973. And she used talcum powder every day of her life, baby powder. She used it on me. I don't have ovaries, you know, maybe that's a good thing. But we know that these genes can be turned on and turned off by these kind of products. That's why they're saying if you use talcum powder and you develop that cancer doesn't turn on by itself. They're saying something turned the gene on. Same with the non-Hodgkin's lymphoma and things that people are getting from glyphosate poisoning or Roundup poisoning. So when you get this stuff on your brain, you're going to start to get dementia and worse. But also the brain function isn't going to work so well. So if your brain function isn't working, not just memory-wise, it also has to do with this system called the endocrine system, the hormone system. It works with the nervous system to control your body's functions. And if your endocrine system gets toxic, the pituitary gland and hypothalamus gland, maybe you've heard about them, then they're not going to get the signals from that the other organs in the brain is sending to them correctly. They're not going to be able to put out the correct precursors to hormones. So, your body, your hypothalamus and your pituitary gland get some information from your adrenal gland saying, we need to make more sex hormones. Your hypothalamus and pituitary send a signal to your adrenal glands to produce some more substances that become sex hormones. And if your adrenal glands are so stressed out from what's going on in our environment right now, then, good luck. It's just, it can't do everything. So the internal environment is what's killing us. It's what's making us sick. We can clean up our internal environment. So many people are so worried about coronavirus, which is an outside organism. Yeah, be concerned with it. But, if you get one of those in your body and your body's completely toxic, where should you really put your emphasis? Be aware of what's going on. Now, be careful, but clean up your body. Clean up your body. Nobody's going to clean it up for you. There isn't a magic pill to clean up your body. It's a lifestyle change. You got to stop putting toxic foods in your body. And you've got to heal the digestive organs like the liver, kidney, large intestine. Large intestine's huge, small intestine, and your stomach. All those things got to work well. You can eat perfectly, but if the system is already damaged, eating perfectly is not going to fix it. We've got to assess it and fix it. We all have toxins in our body. We all have heavy metals in our body. We all have molds in our body. These are things that we need to go after and heal. We know how to look for these. We know how to get rid of them. You can't get rid of them until your body's ready, or it will make you sick. So often people try to do things like even the ketogenic diet, and people get sick from it. It's called the keto flu. It's because it's not done correctly. It's nothing to mess around with. If you had a really nice Porsche and you got a toolkit for Christmas, it doesn't mean you should go start twisting screws on your Porsche. Take it to somebody who's trained in it. You've got a body that's so much more complicated than a Porsche. You got 75 trillion cells, human cells in there. Every cell's doing millions of things a minute or second, all controlled by the nervous system, the brain, and the endocrine system. And the more that can communicate correctly with itself, the healthier you're going to be. So I think it's really important that you go to McCollumWellness.com or McCollumWellnessRadio.com. Call my office if you've been a victim of the fire to where you're displaced. Please come in and let me give you an adjustment and say hi to you, and let my office, give you a little bit of comfort. We'd love to do that for you. 831-459-9990. We can only do so many a day. So please, call and get on the list. And we hope for the best. We hope that you guys all get back into your homes as soon as you can. And our heart goes out for those that are not going to be able to do that. So again, Dr. Duncan McCollum, this show is McCollumWellnessRadio.com every Saturday at 3 o'clock on KSCO, KSCO.com, 1080 AM, 104.1 FM. And it's just really glad to be here. Really glad to be able to have Michael Zwerling and Michael Olson and everybody at KSCO make this possible. We're running out of time here, and it's been a real pleasure talking to you. I really appreciate those of you that are listening, and please share this show with somebody else. Please ask them to join, listen to me next week. Have them go to McCollumWellnessRadio.com and find out about what we're offering, and we will talk to you all soon. Thank you so much.